What's going on, everyone? In this video, I'm going to walk you through one of my full body training sessions. I'm currently nearing the end of my long improvement season following my 2023 competition season. I'll be starting my pre-prep diet in just over 2 months' time before my upcoming competition season, so I'm already nearing the end of the time I have to really focus on building muscle. Alas, as a competitive natural bodybuilder, my goal is to build as much muscle as I possibly can with the time that I have left. By sharing this training session with you, my intention is to show you exactly how I approach each exercise to drive for as much muscle growth as possible in the hopes that it might help you on your own muscle growth journey. Let's get into it. First up, we have the one lower body exercise to rule them all, the Bulgarian split squat. You can't live with it, you can't live without it. The exercise hits the quads, glutes, adductors, and even part of the hamstrings. Depending on how you perform it, like how far apart your feet are from each other or how much you keep your torso upright versus leaned forward, you can bias the glutes or quads more or less. With my setup, I'm keeping my torso fairly upright, my feet are not super wide apart or close together, and I'm moving straight down rather than lunging forward. And as such, it's feeling like I'm hitting both my quads and my glutes pretty maximally. Elevating my front foot allows me to move deeper at the bottom of each rep too for a bigger stretch across my quads, glutes, and adductors, enabling me to get even more stimulus for muscle growth. You might be wondering, well, hey, why are you using a machine and not just dumbbells or a barbell? Great question. The machine takes out a bit of the stabilization demand, which I found has helped me to push my muscle bellies further to failure as I progress in load. Both free weight and machine variations are fantastic though. One isn't necessarily better than the other. The decision to use the machine is mainly just based on my current personal preference. Next up are these bent over dumbbell rows. I'll be honest, out of all the different rowing variations out there, these are my current favorite. Being bent over without any chest support allows me complete freedom to manipulate my scapula and spine position to target different parts of my back musculature. Right now, for example, I'm allowing my spine to round a bit and I'm really trying to open up my scapula at the bottom of each rep. In doing so, I'm really feeling tension both in my lower lats and my traps. On top of that, with the bent over position and slightly rounded spine, my spinal erectors are getting a decent amount of stimulus too. So, all in all, my lower lats, traps, and spinal erectors all feel like they are getting hit hard. Basically, my entire back feels like it's blowing up. What's not to love about that? You might notice that at the end of the set, after the point where I'm no longer able to do any more full range of motion reps, I finish by squeezing out as many lengthened partials as possible as a way to hit my muscles even harder. This is something I've been doing for most pulling exercises, including bicep curl variations, lateral raises, and more. Next are these seated dumbbell lateral raises. In the past, I've really not loved doing these, having had a hard time with my mind-muscle connection, and honestly just finding the exercise to be excruciatingly boring and unsatisfying. Over the past few years, however, I've been approaching them a bit differently and have since been getting a lot more out of them. Here's what's been helping me. I try to move with a ton of control, aiming to completely get rid of any swinging and adding a full dead stop pause at the top of each rep where tension on the delts is at its highest. Basically, I try to move in the way that leads to the highest amount of tension on the delts rather than moving in the way that leads me to just hitting my desired rep target. Seems like a pretty obvious concept, right? Well, in the past, it didn't really sink in for me. But hey, you live and you learn. It's simple, but it really does work, and not just for this exercise, but really for every one of them. Lateral raises are also an exercise that I really like including lengthened partials with, similar to my pulling exercises, as well as drop sets and myo reps. For example, in this session, during my second extended set, I did 17 full range of motion reps with 15 pounds, followed by a few partials. Then I dropped the load to 10 pounds and did 6 reps, followed by 3 additional myo rep sets, including 4 to 6 reps each. Lots and lots of reps. The combination of drop sets and myo rep sets really cooks my delts. Following my lateral raises, cable rows are next. Like the bent over dumbbell rows, these rows also don't involve any chest support, which allows for lots of freedom to manipulate my spine and scapula positioning to target different parts of my back. At the bottom of each rep, I really try to let my scapula open up to hit the traps and rear delts hard. But unlike the bent over rows from earlier, I'm not rounding my spine as much, so I'm not feeling as much of a hit to my lower lats. I typically do only one exercise per body part per session within my full body training program. But on this training day, I had a little bit more volume for my back musculature in hopes that it brings up my back slightly more. Over my last competition season, my upper inner back was one of my weaker points. I include extra volume to my back on this training day in hopes of having it no longer be a weak area for me in my next competitive season. Good old-fashioned push-ups are up next, but not just any push-ups. I'm doing deficit push-ups. You'll notice that I'm gripping kettlebell handles as I do these. That's to allow me to move deeper at the bottom of each rep compared to if I were doing standard push-ups from the floor. It's the same concept as elevating my front foot during my Bulgarian split squats as shown earlier. The more depth I reach, the more I'm able to expose my muscles to tension in their most stretched position, leading to tons of muscle growth stimulus. I'm not loading the movement at all here, and I'm only using my body weight. And honestly, I don't need to load the exercise for it to be a heck of a challenge. Pausing for a second at the bottom of each rep and doing high rep sets leaves me with a massive amount of tension across my chest and an absolutely enormous pump. The exercise is a nice bit of variation for my joints and connective tissue too in the mix of my other chest exercises on my other training days, where I'm lifting relatively heavy loads. And last up for this session are these machine shrugs. This is a movement that I think can be super easy to write off and put in both subpar effort and attention to detail. Alas, since I'm really trying to build my upper traps, I'm treating them the same way I would treat any other exercise. Train hard and keep my technique in the pocket. No bouncing or jumping the weight up, and no speeding through the set. I try to move with lots of control throughout each rep, pausing both at the top of the rep and the bottom. By pausing at the bottom of each rep, I allow the weight to settle on my stretched traps, which really seems to help with reinforcing my mind-muscle connection. And just like any other exercise, exposing my traps to lots of tension in their most elongated position by pausing at the bottom, it's probably super stimulative for muscle growth. And that's the session. If you have any questions about my exercise selection, exercise technique, or anything of the sort, they are welcome in the comment section below. I'll do the best I can to answer each of them. And if you enjoyed the video, let me know by hitting the like button and consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. Next up, I would watch this video. In it, I share the methodology behind how I pick the rep ranges for each of the exercises on my program. If you haven't seen it yet, be sure to check it out now. I'll see you there.